Welcome to part 3 of Embrace, Showing and Sharing the Love of Jesus. Using the metaphor of embrace, we're working our way through the 6 essential values that provide a foundation for us as we reach out to others with the love of Jesus. We've looked at humility, clarity, and prayer, and this portion of our study focuses on the 4th, which is integrity. Integrity is commonly defined as adherence to a code, especially moral or artistic values. This is certainly a bedrock meaning of integrity, and it's crucial for sharing our faith from a stance of embrace. But another meaning, the quality or state of being complete or undivided, or the state of being whole, entire, or undiminished, that's also important for our understanding of integrity. This holistic integrity extends beyond following a moral code and incorporates the essential values of humility and clarity. The 3rd step in the metaphor of embrace, closing our arms, helps us to grasp the importance of holistic integrity. Closing our arms is the essence of embrace. There's a sense of completeness that comes when the other person who was absent when we opened our arms in the first stage is now present. The void that we felt when our arms were open but empty is in some way filled. Closing our arms is impossible, however, without the wholeness of integrity, which is built on both humility and clarity. When we're honest with ourselves and with others, and when they trust that we believe we're no better or worse than they are, the space between us becomes secure enough to lead to the fullness of embrace. Years ago, I was responsible for a Sunday worship service that met in a local theater. It was pretty unconventional. In fact, because we met in a community theater, we had to worship in the midst of whatever scenery and props were being used for the current production. Well, the unusual aspects of what we were doing attracted a lot of people who had, for a variety of reasons, felt unwelcome in or alienated by the church. Well, several years after leaving that position, I ran into a woman who had attended regularly. As we spoke, she recalled that she was in a confused and unhealthy place in her life during those years. She sensed that I knew this about her and, in some ways, probably disagreed or even disapproved with the ways in which she was coping. At the same time, though, because I had been honest with her and honest with others about my own struggles, she came to feel that there was a place for her no matter what. And it was the security of that space that had challenged her to seriously reevaluate her life. The honesty that comes with both humility and clarity leads to trust, which leads to security. People have to trust that we really do love them the way that we say that we love them. It's that trust that makes the space between us and others feel secure, and that paves the way for the closing of the arms and embrace. Holistic integrity also involves reciprocity. Closing our arms in embrace once again helps us visualize this, because an embrace is impossible without reciprocity. It takes 2 pairs of arms for one embrace. An embrace is also active and passive. We hold and we're held. There may be varying degrees of giving, but each must enter the space of the other and feel the presence of the other. A full embrace depends on that kind of reciprocity. During my ministry in the local theater, I was surrounded by lots of folks who had felt rejected or unwelcome in other churches. Many were struggling in faith and in life, and many were involved in practices and circumstances that undermined their wholeness. When I began, I assumed I would be doing all the holding. After all, I was the minister. But as I extended open arms to them and created a secure space for the Holy Spirit to move, I felt their response. And it was a profound and often surprising experience of being held by them as well. The young woman I just spoke about talked about this mutuality. She said that even though we disagreed, it was important that I took her seriously and was always open to the possibility that she might have something to offer me. I remember Early in my career, I was asked to coordinate a project, but when I began to make plans and organize, I discovered that the person who asked me to coordinate things was already doing the work, which basically meant there wasn't anything for me to do. The message I received was that he really didn't think I had anything to offer, which is why he went ahead and did all the work himself. Those two examples provide an interesting contrast. We all know when people are taking us seriously or not, but reciprocity is about mutual giving. We hold and are held. We give and receive. So embrace must always be reciprocal. The holistic integrity embodied in embrace also requires a soft touch. We don't grip too tightly, but we also don't melt into the other. Our identities are preserved and transformed. Our integrity is intact, and yet we see each other in a new light. Holistic integrity is a core value because showing and sharing the love of Jesus is not only about our integrity, but also the integrity of others as well. A gentle touch respects our own integrity and the integrity of others. It allows others to feel secure and allows room for the transforming power of the Holy Spirit. And the Holy Spirit's power to transform is never limited. It can work in many different directions. This is important because when we share faith, it's easy to assume that the work of the Holy Spirit is one directional, and it's the other person who's being transformed rather than us. We share the gospel with the expectant hope that others might be transformed, at a bare minimum, into persons who profess faith in Jesus Christ. But sometimes our assumptions can go even further, and we start expecting others to be transformed into Christians who resemble us, thinking and believing exactly like we do. But we're not in charge of how the Holy Spirit works. We talked about that in our discussion of prayer. It's not just about us offering Jesus to others. It's about being willing to receive something from them as well. It's about recognizing that both people are changed when we show and share the love of Jesus. Showing and sharing the love of Jesus from a stance of embrace must always involve openness to the power of the Holy Spirit to continually work not only through us toward others, but also through others toward us. Our willingness to receive something from others is just like our willingness to open our arms before anything and everything else, because we recognize that the Holy Spirit is already at work, already moving inside other people, even if they aren't aware of it yet. Our humility and clarity combine to help us create environments where people can feel safe and valued, where mutuality and reciprocity are an important part of our relationships, and where the Holy Spirit is given space to move in lots of different directions. All of this works together to strengthen the essential value of integrity, freeing God to work for wholeness for all. So let's take some time for reflection. When you think about sharing your faith, do your expectations include your own inner transformation? Why or why not? How might your approach change if you recognized that the Holy Spirit moves in many directions? In part 2, you made a list of people to pray for, some of whom may not know Jesus yet. How might they respond if they felt that you took them seriously and were open to the possibility that they might have something to offer you?